some different mixed things about it. Some people in other places are just like, yeah, it's still not great for me. But I'm like, this is the first time like I've gotten the update where I feel like it's really close to being like, well, what I've been telling people is it's what I envisioned, even though like understanding I was getting into a beta version of this. Yeah. I thought where it's at right now was where I was gonna start, right? Like I thought I was gonna be a lot smarter than it was when I got it. And a lot better. Yeah. And so this is that version. Like,
yeah, this is finally what you were dreaming it would be.
Well, it's beta, and I get that. It's still awkward more than anything at some points. Like the turn signal thing, it still will do sporadically, but it tackles nearly everything that it should really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I will most certainly intervene. Like I've gone days without having to actually take over and override it. Like
really?
The only, sometimes I might, again, more for comfortability of and for the sake of other drivers, press on the accelerator to be like, okay, go. Yeah. Yeah. But that's just it being overly cautious, and it's gonna have to go. So I'm gonna give it the accelerator here, just because it's like this guy thought I was creeping out for sure. So anyway, so it's and I probably could have let it just stop. I think it would have stopped,
probably
but
just stopped there and waited for all the cars to go by.
Yeah, right? Exactly. It probably would have. But that's one of those things that I think eventually will get sorted out, because it's very much like a quick judgment call. Like me as a person could be like, okay, yeah, we've got plenty of room here if we just go and commit to it. Where I think it's still, the system is erring on the side of caution, so it gets to the point, probably realized it was there, and then it's, oh, okay, I'm going to stay here.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, if that type of thing, though, if that's all that's really the most obvious, like, hang-ups for the system at this point, which it probably would be the most obvious because it's the one you're going to deal with the most often. Yeah. If that's all that's left to really iron out, is just get some of that additional confidence in there, get a little bit more brave about what it does.
Exactly.
Wow. Yep. I mean, I can still remember when you first took me on it, and it was like, it was a little off-putting to go, like, it's still comforting to have your hands on the wheels, but like, when we were driving, there was definitely plenty of just like that constant, like you said, it's funny to think about how far it's come in just a year. Yeah. To see that it's gotten to this point where it's like, this feels
a little bit
pretty human to me, although that was a pretty hefty break.
And not necessary.
No, it was like, you're already, it didn't need to stop that hard, but to think about when it was the first ride and how like pretty obvious it was each step of the way. I mean, I was still super impressed with even where it was back a year ago.
Yeah. I mean, to a degree, for sure, I was too. But I would be lying if I admitted I was disappointed. I guess this guy's gonna let us go, which the Tesla doesn't really realize that was what he was doing.
Yeah. Well, I think he was waiting for that kid to cross the street too.
Maybe. So there's another instance where like it doesn't. And that guy totally should not have done that, right? He shouldn't have stopped. And that wasn't even a crosswalk, I believe.
No, there's no crosswalk, and that kid didn't look like he was looking to get across the street. So he was just kind of puttering there.
There's another instance where I had to press the accelerator to take advantage of the situation where the system, rightfully, it was like, just didn't take any action.
Yeah. Okay,
so here's the end of my main loop here, so we hit and disengage, and then we'll put in the high-vis market, and we'll engage from here. So here's about the beginning of my normal test loop.
Okay.
And you've been on many times.
Yes. Oh, I enjoy this very much. It's fun to see each time because, I mean, some of them been about the same, but I've got high hopes for this run.
Yeah. Well, and then watch it will totally like not be
it's totally
good at all.
Pooch again. No.
Yeah. It's a real possibility, but
how many more times have you done since you did your last video going down there to the Pybus? How many more times have you taken runs at it just to see?
Like maybe 2 or 3 other times. Not like my full test loop, but
yeah,
2 or 3 other times. And a couple of times I've like had to go to the market, so
had to, huh?
Yeah.
Getting Christmas gifts. That the fancy olive oil store down there. I mean,
yeah.
And the cheese shop. What's all this?
Oh, that would be the school zone radar detector sign.
Oh.
Yeah. It usually, what's weird is like we were pretty far past that. Okay, so we can get in the lane now. It says it wants to do it. So it just needs to commit to doing it, and it's awkward. I'm gonna, come on, you can do it.
There it goes.
Okay.
There it goes.
Yeah, see, that's again,
probably,
like the person behind me was like, what is this guy even doing? So, and that's like been my biggest thing is like I try and lately have been letting it kind of play out and figure out things. And as much as possible, not trying to annoy people behind me, but sometimes I'll just let it be a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
Just to see if it can do it, as long as it's safe.
Do you think it's because it couldn't? Do you think it's because we're in the winter and the people are a little bit further over because of the snow?
You know,
they got a little bit scared there.
I don't. Maybe.
It seemed like it was going, and then when it saw that other car, it definitely seemed like it kind of caught.
Yeah. Again, it might just be the system again erring on the side of caution more than anything else.
Yeah. Interesting.
Which again is what kind of causes some of the awkwardness. Now, some of the shenanigans that is like just it's lame. It should not be doing it. Is like it will have its blinker on for the stupidest reasons.
Yeah. It's a gentle left blinker.
Yeah, like seriously, if the roads sometimes if like the road is just curving a little bit, like coming from your spot, you know, it's that road, you know, kind of curves sometimes. Sometimes they'll put on the blinker.
Huh.
It's weird.
That is weird. Have you noticed anything, like, because I know you said last year, like, the winter driving was pretty bad on the car. I mean,
yeah,
for really heavy unpredictability with it. I mean, obviously it's better, but how much better do you feel like it is this time around during the winter? Is there things that it used to do that it's not doing anymore?
Well, the one thing that, you know, I haven't really tested yet is too much. I did a little bit. Is like fully snow-covered ground, no markings on the road. You know, like these. Like, yeah. Like right now, we're in like good conditions as far as like there's snow on the edges, but it's not covering any of the markings and that sort of thing. Yeah. But I have noticed. Okay, you need to move up. I'm gonna give it a little bit of.
Hello. Yeah. Wake up.
Okay, so there's the creep fence.
Okay. Oh, slow down.
And stop. Yep. Yeah, right. Boy, that's your fault. That's your fault, Tesla.
That was a little close.
And that I complained about that in my other video too. Is like people turning left here, and we're trying to make a left, and it still creeps forward while that person is literally making a left in front of me. That's something that should not happen.
No, that's pretty dangerous. It's because it's super hard to predict how people are going to cut that corner. I mean, some people cut stuff super sharp, and if you're creeping, I mean, they're not going to be looking at you either when you're creeping.
Yeah,
they're watching their corner.
And so this is actually going to be a pretty challenging intersection because we got people making right here. We have to make a left, and sometimes the people on our right are blocking the view on the left. And then there's, you know, people behind me, and now we can't go. So the interesting thing is though, like so far it's I mean, totally appropriate. Like we're not too far out. It's waiting for the right gap.
here we go. This is a good gap.
Yep.
Yeah, and it saw it.
It saw it. Yep.
Okay.
So
nice.
And then of course it always nags me on the freaking turn. Always.
Nags like you to hold the wheel?
To turn the wheel, yes. Oh. That's a personal pet peeve, although I know a lot of people that have the system also complain about that. But specifically, it wants you to turn the wheel while it either is attempting to make a turn or it's in the middle of a turn. It should never ask for that.
Yeah, why would you mess with it while it's turning? That's
because
weird.
A lot of times I also find myself not paying attention to the screen. I'm looking left or right and also trying to feel whether the car is going to move forward or not.
Mm-hmm.
So here again, I think it's confused. Like that is so, you know, with the snow pile there.
Yeah,
it's not entirely sure it can make that turn. See, again, wants me to get a turn. Mm-hmm. Go slow through here. Good. Gets really close to that double line. Luckily, we had people parked there. And I think in my last video as well, it went over the line.
Really? And
then other times I'll have to disengage because it usually goes over the line. And so if there's a car coming, and they're coming pretty quickly in the opposite direction, and they're kind of in that lane already, it looks like I'm headed right for them or pretty close to it. So. But that's another weird thing. It's like on a hill, so they're kind of coming up, and we're coming out of a corner, so it's just like a weird.
Yeah. Well,
but that's again, it's the type of stuff it needs to tackle. And again, if there's cars there, like there were right now, like it's totally fine.
Yeah, no problem. Knows the cars, pays attention to them versus the lines, or whatever line it's imaginarily drawing on the road there. It allows it to hang your front end into the. Where are we going?
Here's the other thing: is like. In my last video, I complained about that. It's like, why is it stopping and slowing down? Exact same thing it just did right there. And I had people in my comments be like, oh, it's stopping for that truck that's starting to creep out, and it thought it was going to go. Well, we had two cars there that were static, doing nothing. Yeah. And it thought it was, you know, I think for some reason it thought it was like a four-way stop or an intersection it needed to deal with. Okay, so I guess we're going to go. It's going to stop in the middle. So another intervention there. So, and again, for some reason, that intersection as well is a real, you know, still tricky. And it's just this direction. Coming back the other way, I never have a problem with it. But it wants to go to, like, create a creep line and then go to and the creep line's like the middle of the intersection and then stop and no.
So I assume you gave it some gas there in the middle of the intersection.
Yeah. So there's a handful of interventions, another slowdown there for who knows why.
That's interesting. It wasn't doing as much of that like phantom braking stuff previously. It seems like it's done a few more phantom brakes this time around than the last time.
But it's still not aggressive. Like
No, not like it was the first few times. It just stop in the middle of nothing.
Yeah, before I would call like phantom braking, like it's, you know, hitting the brakes.
Yeah.
But this is more of like just like phantom slowdown.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's still technically braking, but but I haven't had to disengage yet and take over.
Yeah. No, so far it's just been giving it gas when it needs to go.
Yeah.
Which is just fine.
And again, it has something weird to do with like the confidence.
Yeah.
Again, erring on the side of caution and safety, and it's hard to tell unless I'm looking directly. Oh, okay. We're going this way.
Okay.
We have never gone this way for our test loop, but that's where it's going to go.
It just decided that.
All right. Well,
hey,
that's fine because, you know, to be honest, like coming down Orondo is a bit boring, but it is what it is. So we'll give this a shot. Maybe we'll make another loop around Orondo to see if it will do the Pybus challenge appropriately. But yeah, that's really weird. Sometimes it'll happen. I've noticed that like routes that I regularly go on.
Do you think it's starting to pay attention to maybe where traffic's backed up? Like, is it looking up there and seeing? Because I saw when you pulled it over that it was showing the busy areas.
But that looks like it's coming that way.
Yeah.
So possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a bit of a slowdown. Well, let's
quite a ways
I don't
out. Huh. Yeah, it's interesting. It's going to go. It's kind of a weird route it's taking here. It seems like it's trying very hard to avoid some of the congestion, though.
Well, actually, the interesting thing is the last time I went to Pybus, this is the route I took, and I took it purposefully, actually.
Like you told the system to run this way rather than the other way?
It's a good question. Maybe. What I might have done is actually just like gotten off here at the main avenue and then re-engaged it kind of thing. Yeah, re-engage. Okay, so good.
That was pretty good.
Appropriate slowdown for somebody pulling into a parking spot there. Hopefully it doesn't do anything crazy. Got a law enforcement officer behind us.
Oh, do we? Uh-oh.
As long as it's does its thing, it's fine.
Acting at least semi-human.
Yeah. So that's interesting. It's going to have us turn down this street that we usually come back on and make our other unprotected left. So that's all right. Kind of a slalom going on here.
Okay.
It's got its creep line at an angle.
Yeah, it's a little funky.
Okay, looks fine.
Yeah, good.
And it's nagging me again in the middle of a turn. I'm trying to pay attention to the road, like I should be, right? Mm-hmm. Not to the screen, nagging me to tug the wheel during a turn. And sometimes, you know, the first nag you get is down here.
Yeah.
And that, you know, there's other indicators that come down there.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when it's just like an indicator that it's, I don't know, like usually they're not very...
It's creeping, right?
Yeah.
It pops up in the same corner.
Exactly.
With the same sort of symbol.
Yeah, so it's at a glance, like, not always clear what that is, or out the corner of my eye, rather, peripheral vision. Yeah. All right, so we'll have it make a right into the market here, and then we'll go back and have it go up a rondo, or come back down a rondo, just to be consistent.
Does it still have the park yourself feature thing like it's supposed to?
It does, yeah.
Yeah. Have you tried doing that here at the Pybus Market?
I haven't, but we can give that a shot.
Will it do it while we're in the car?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you have to, at this point, you have to tell it to park. Yeah. Like, you have to find a spot and it will auto park. Okay, so it doesn't like that guy. Come on, you can do it. Okay. So there we go. This is a bit of a different entrance. But let's see if we can find a place to test the auto park. Did a handful of times. Although when I went on a road trip with my Tesla Owners Washington group, yeah, I had it parallel park, and it did a great job, actually.
Really? Okay, that's cool.
All right, so let's go down here and see. It can be a bit tricky to find it exactly. Has to recognize that there's a spot it can pull in.
Okay. Also, so it actually has to give you a prompt when it's ready for a park.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just say like find the nearest parking spot.
Exactly. Yeah, at least not yet.
Interesting.
Okay, so we're not getting anything here. I do know you need to be like below 5 miles an hour for it to
engage it.
Yeah, to engage the auto park.
That sort of makes sense. Just assuming that you're probably cruising otherwise.
It used to require parking lines.
Yeah. Definitely, I mean, Lines here are still pretty good.
I can't remember whether or not I want to say they updated it so it just needs to be. Oh no, it needs to be between two cars, and now it can actually use the lines, so it's not just between two cars, which is good because I usually try not to park next to two cars if I can help it. So let's see, it really is one of those weird things. I'm going to do this. I don't know that will make a difference, but
can you program it to park like a jerk so that it always parks on the line? So you take two slots.
The nice thing is when it does work, it actually, it parks
right in the lane.
Right in the lane. Yeah. So it's, but yeah, we're not getting.
Yeah, well, it doesn't help. There's not many spots over here. Oh, there's one. See that? No, doesn't like it.
And it should recognize both left and or right.
Yeah.
But nope, it didn't like that one either. And I know you do have to pull kind of like ahead.
Oh, does it try and back in?
Okay, I guess it's a standoff, and so there's no lines here. So
I'd be curious to see if it did anything over here.
So yeah, and I have, there's other videos out there too where it's just not, the parking is just not the most reliable thing.
Yeah.
But very soon we're supposed to be getting full self-driving version 11, which is like the next like major release, and it's also supposed to include what people are calling like actual smart summon.
Oh yeah, I was about to ask about that. I know it's obviously it's not doing very well with the parking, but I know that the summon feature was supposed to be really cool.
Yeah, and it's not, but it also, in its current state, same with the auto park, uses the old system for like the old Autopilot code to park and do the summon. Where the full self-driving code is much more advanced now. It has a lot more data. So version 11 merges the Autopilot code, which is right now only used on the highway, with the full self-driving. Well, it should be the full self-driving overwrites the Autopilot. So now full self-driving will be included for highway driving as well as these other components, the smart summon and the auto park.
Interesting.
I believe. I'm not 100% sure actually on the auto park, but I would imagine with smart summon and auto park, it's got to be the same use of code. I'm pretty sure that's how it is now.
Are there plans? Because I know that right now, right, like they have two separate packages, right? One's full self-driving, one's the kind of like highway driving or whatever, right? Or the autopilot.
Yep.
Do they intend to keep those two things separate? Like you're just talking about how they're probably going to blend them? They're really going to keep them separate?
Yes, but I believe Autopilot will benefit from the full self-driving. So right now when you get Autopilot, again, it is only highway driving. I think Autopilot will retain highway only driving, but it will benefit from the the updated code that's being used for full self-driving.
Gotcha.
Which is just a lot larger improvements on. Come on, I'm gonna give it some acceleration. It's just so. All right, and look at that. It's
wow, it went over immediately.
Yeah, it hasn't done that before. I haven't done that before, but hey, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it probably saw the traffic and was like, "Yep, not gonna get over there now."
Yeah,
that was quick of it.
Yeah, so that's pretty awesome. Yeah, so I'm really excited about the smart summon, and then again, hopefully the auto park feature will also be benefit from that as well.
Yeah. Have you tried any of the summons lately, just to see if it does?
Not lately, mostly because I know it's still the same old garbage.
Stuck out in the parking lot, and you're gonna have to walk out and get it anyway.
Some people have success with it, and I just right now, with what I know about Autopilot or about smart summon and how I've used it before, it's more awkward than anything, and just basically unreliable. So Okay, so we'll let it. Now is it going to have to wait for that truck? That's going to wait for the pedestrian. We should be able to go.
Is it going?
Come on. Yep.
Oh, it's going.
Cool. And I didn't have to do anything.
Nice. Good decision making.
Yep.
Good job, car.
All right. So there you go. Pybus challenge resolved.
Nice.
You know, long-standing issue. I am going to go
Get to do the other fun part and see how it does on this the exit over here for the bridge.
Yeah. The one thing that the other thing I'd like to end up seeing is full self-driving out of parking lots. So basically the full package, right?
Yeah.
What eventually I want to see is full self-driving being able to engage from my garage. Nope, can't do it right now. Engage from my garage and park in a spot where I'm going.
That'll be wow.
And then on top of that, the next step I'd love to see is, okay, well, say you're at a grocery store. I want it to drop me off in front of the grocery store. Okay, so it's going to go this way. That's fine. No, actually, I don't want to go that way. I'm going to go straight and force it to go that way.
Yeah. We could take the nasty turn.
Okay, there we go. So yeah, and drop me off in front of the grocery store, then go park itself.
Yep.
And then when I come out of the store, being able to use the smart summon to have it come and get me.
Yep.
And I've been saying online, Twitter and other places, like that smart summon is gonna be what actually sells Tesla and full self-driving. Like especially this full self-driving, like it's a clearly demonstrative of what full self-driving can do for people who have like zero clue about full self-driving. Because right now we're isolated in a car. Nobody knows I'm using this right now except for you and me, right? And everybody even who gets behind me when it's being awkward, whoa, thinks
like that.
It's me. Yeah, that was strange. I didn't even see it was trying to go around.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it was trying to do there. That was a weird one.
So yeah, like that, and so everybody's it's just some jackwagon behind the wheel, you know. And so, but something where you're out in front of a store and you're waiting for your car, and your car is approaching you with no driver in it, and people are walking out with their groceries and seeing it, they're gonna be like, whoa!
Yeah.
Teslas can do that?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's been the plan the whole time. They just haven't been able to do it. So, and they're getting so close. And this is a really good. Okay, commit.
Go. Oh, did you give it gas?
Nope.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't touch it. Let it do its thing.
All right.
So, but that will solidify what full self-driving is capable of to the masses, because right now they just are not aware. Unless you're watching this on YouTube and you're actively following kind of what it can, its progress, and what it can and can't do, you're just not going to know. Like, and then the media trashes it too. So
yeah,
they're more well, they don't have very many good things to say about it in general.
No.
But and then it seems every time they get like somebody in the media wise or whatever, is it going to turn? It should go around this guy, but I guess not. Somebody like a news agency reports on it, they get, I don't know whether it's like they get some guy who doesn't know what they're doing, or I just rarely are positive notes about Tesla's full self-driving program. It's all the media is typically negative about it.
That's sort of their game anyway. So.
The crazy thing is though, before this version, there was probably about 100,000 testers across North America, and there's some in Canada. Now, after this the version that I'm on now was opened up to folks that, if you're on the right software version and you have the full self-driving package, you would be able to request the beta and get it immediately, where before you'd have to test into it and that sort of thing. So they've opened it even further. So I don't even know what the latest numbers are right now as far as people using full self-driving, but Tesla's getting enormous amounts of data now, and from tons of different scenarios. So I believe that will exponentially increase their ability to iterate faster and better.
Yeah, I mean, that'll really, I mean, the bigger the pool of times that you can see the same thing happening the way it's not supposed to,
Right.
the easier and easier it'll be for them to identify what things to work on next.
So here's the other challenge that, you know, it has occasionally. Oh, I can't believe the brakes this car gets. Just earlier today, I was in the car with my wife, and in the same type of scenario, we were really close. We needed to get into that right lane, and it was like the traffic was fully backed up, and it got, I don't know, like I guess somebody let us in. It was basically ended up what ended up happening. Whereas, you know, I was talking to my wife about, I was like, it needs to make the decision way earlier and sit in line.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So
yeah, well, it's interesting. It takes that much time to do that decision, but yet when we were over there at the Pybus, it made the decision well before we got down to the Pybus Challenge spot. Like it had already gone, oh yeah, I'm gonna need to get over there. And it just did it.
Yeah.
While looking at traffic and seeing that there was traffic backed up. So it's like, it obviously can see some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think the times that it hasn't really changed lanes, but the times where it starts to finally try and do something,
So here's the other challenge. Again, it will still mess us up, but you saw in my last video, it nailed it how I wanted to, staying in this lane the whole way through. But yeah, it still wants to do this, like getting in the right-hand lane. So it knows it needs to get over there, but, and now again, my last video, and it's done it a couple other times where it's like, yep, it was able to make it into the appropriate lane at the apex. Okay, turn.
Did it just change its mind?
No. So I guess the good thing is it's not changing on the apex.
Yeah, I remember the first couple times it tried to change right as we started that corner. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna swing out here. We're like, whoa.
So at least there it was like on a straightaway.
Yeah.
Instead of like in the middle of a turn.
Yeah.
So not ideal. It worked. I didn't have to intervene. And again, I have not had to take over yet for anything. I've had to use the accelerator, but I haven't had to disengage.
Yep. Yeah. Wow.
And that's a huge improvement. Like,
yeah.
Like that had not happened on any of my previous videos. Always had 2, 3.
Yep.
And I was like, oh yeah, I only had a couple.
This is the first so far. We've made it further than we've ever, at least you and I have ever made it together without a disengagement.
Yeah.
This is the farthest I've gotten with you.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Yeah, so
okay.
What's this guy doing?
I don't know. Is it trying to go here?
I'm gonna, again,
give it a
for the
little
sake of not trying to be awkward, it totally was not my turn, and I think the Tesla even knew it wasn't its turn. And now it's got the blink. Why? I have the blinker on? I don't know. So again, some other awkwardness with blinkers. Wanting to change into a lane that was ending. But by and large, you know, yeah, there isn't any place so far around town where it's had difficulty like it used to.
No. I mean, and there's plenty of instances where, like, it would get like that, where it gets halfway out in the intersection and it would just disengage because it didn't know what to do anymore. Like,
yeah.
There's a couple times that it did that when I was riding with you. And
yeah.
It kind of got out there and was acting funny, but it was like, I'm still going to go eventually. Just like, okay.
Yeah. And, you know, and I also think it's pretty much fine, like, having to give it like, hey, it's okay, bud, go ahead. And now it's okay. So I finally found the lane. I was actually just watching yesterday. Have you heard of the YouTuber MKBHD?
Have not.
So he does a lot of like tech and Apple stuff a lot. He recently started doing more car stuff. And so he recorded a video testing full self-driving, which I think is interesting. He hasn't done it before because he's had he's been a big fan of Tesla and has interviewed Elon and all that sort of thing, but hasn't said anything or done anything with full self-driving. Anyway, I was watching him, and he's in Jersey, so you're getting a bit more saucy traffic there. But at the same time, watching his videos, it kind of reminded me maybe of when I first started driving, and as well is he was just unsure of its behavior and how it was supposed to approach certain things. And so he didn't have confidence in the system, which I think makes a big difference. It's like I've been doing this now for a year, and so I have confidence that the system is going to do what it needs to do, even when it's being a little bit awkward. Those awkwardness things are a lot less now, especially on this version.
Yeah.
But he was talking about how this is super stressful, and it can certainly be. But that's also just due to a lack of confidence more than actually the system being an issue.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. But yeah, I was mostly surprised that somebody like him has had such little to no experience using it, and so.
Yeah, the immediate fear of what's going to happen next.
Yeah, and I think that's probably going to be the majority of people who are maybe just now joining too. Is like it's sometimes hard to know right out the gate whether or not it's screwing up or if it's just being a little bit awkward. Mm-hmm. And the nice thing is, if you're uncomfortable with it, you can just it's easy enough to just disengage and take over. But that also kind of like has them like lose confidence in the system as well. And so I don't know, that's probably another challenge in and of itself, is getting people to trust the system enough to do its thing, but of course still wanting to be as cautious as possible.
Yeah.
And so it takes a bit of just feeling out how the car behaves and how it will react and what to kind of pay attention to as it's doing its thing, to know whether or not it's actually messing up, or if it actually saw something you didn't, because that can be the case too.
Yeah. Do you have any friends left who haven't gotten to go on a ride for your full self-driving? Like maybe when it gets really solid, like to the point where you're dreaming of, you call in the one friend who hasn't gone on a ride with you yet.
Yeah.
And go, hey, let's engage. Why don't you have a seat and engage full self-driving, and let's get to the go wherever.
Yeah.
And see what their experience would be like, having not experienced full self-driving.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be interesting.
If you trust the system, they'll have to trust the system.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
The system's going to keep them safe. They don't.
Yeah. Exactly. I'll go ahead and just